Leonine, Elegiacs. Long flowing breezes are roaming the broad valley dimmed in the gloaming. Through the black-stemmed pines only the fair river shines, creeping through blossomy rushes and bowers of rose-blowing bushes. Down by the poplar tail rivulets babble and fall. Barketh the shepherd dog cheerily, the grasshopper caroleth clearly. Deeply the turtle coos, shrilly the owlet halloos. Winds creep, dews fell chilly. In her first sleep breathes stilly. Over the pools and the burn water gnats murmur and mourn. Sadly the far kine loweth, the glimmering water outfloweth. Twin peaks shadowed with pine slope to the dark hyaline. Low-throned Hesper is stayed between the two peaks, but the naiad, throbbing in mid-unrest, holds him beneath in her breast. The ancient poetess singeth that Hesperus all things bringeth, smoothing the wearied mind. Bring me my love, Rosalind. Thou comest morning and even, she cometh not, morning or even. False-eyed Hesper, unkind, where's my sweet Rosalind? The how and why. I am any man's suitor, if any will be my tutor. Some say this life is pleasant, some think it speedeth fast. In time there is no present, in eternity no future, in eternity no past. We laugh, we cry, we are born, we die. We who riddle me the how and the why. The bulrush nods unto its brother. The wheat ears whisper to each other. What is it they say? What do they there? Why 2 and 2 make 4? Why round is not square? Why the rocks stand still and the light clouds fly? Why the heavy oak groans and the white willows sigh? Why deep is not high and high is not deep? Whether we wake or whether we sleep, whether we sleep or whether we die. How you are you? Why I am I? Who will riddle me the how and the why? The world is somewhat, it goes on somehow. But what is the meaning of then and now? I feel there is something, but how and what? I know there is somewhat, but what and why? I cannot tell if that somewhat be I. The little bird pipeth, why and why? In the summer woods, when the sun falls low, and the green bird sits on the opposite bough, and stares in his face and shouts, how, how? And the black owl scuds down the mellow twilight, and chaunts, how, how, the whole of the night. Why the life goes when the blood is spilt, what the life is, where the soul may lie. Why a church is with steeple built, and a house with a chimney pot. Who will riddle me the how and the what? Who will riddle me the what and the why? Supposed confessions of a second-rate sensitive mind, not in unity with itself. O God, my God, have mercy now. I faint, I fall, men say that thou didst die for me, for such as me. Well, there's a lot of conflict with that even in the Bible. We can reason that way from, patient of ill and death and scorn, that my sin was as a thorn among the thorns that girt thy brow, wounding thy soul, that even now, in this extremest misery of ignorance, I should require a sign, and if a bolt of fire would arrive the slumberous summer noon, while I do pray to thee alone. Well, if they're following the Father-Son thing, it's not just praying to one, is it? Think, my belief would stronger grow. Is not my human pride brought low? The boasting of my spirit still, the joy I had, and my free will, all cold and dead, and corpse-like grown. And what is left to me but thou, and faith in thee? Men pass me by, Christians with happy countenances, and children all seem full of thee, and women smile with saint-like glances, like thine own mother's, when she bowed above thee on that happy morn, when angels spake to men aloud, and thou and peace to earth were born. Well, don't they speak all the time, and just people seldom are conscious of it? Isn't that what most of the myths actually say, is that they come heralding the dawn? And other times of day and places and all sorts of stuff. Goodwill to me as well as all, I one of them, my brothers they, brothers in Christ, a word of peace and confidence day after day, and trust and hope till things should cease, and then when heaven receive us all, how sweet to have a common faith, to hold a common scorn of death, and at burial to hear the creaking chords which wound and eat into my human heart, whatever. Earth goes to earth with grief, not fear, with hopeful grief, or passing sweet, a grief not uninformed and dull, hearted with hope, of hope as full as is the blood with life or night, and a dark cloud with rich moonlight, to stand beside a grave and see the red small atoms wherewith we are built, and smile in calm and say, these little moles and graves shall be clothed on with immortality, more glorious than the noon of day. All that is passed into the flowers and into the beasts and other men, and all the Norland whirlwind showers from open vaults, and all the sea o'er watches with sharp salts again, shall fleet together all, and be endued with immortality, thrice happy state again to be, the trustful infant on the knee, who lets his waxen fingers play at his mother's neck and nose, nothing beyond his mother's eyes, they comfort him by night and day, they light his little life alway, he hath no thought of coming woes, he hath no care of life or death, scarce outward signs of joy arise, because the spirit of happiness and perfect rest so inward is, and loveth so his innocent heart, her temple and her place of birth, where she would ever wish to dwell, life of the fountain there beneath, its salient springs and far apart, hating to wander out on earth, are breathed into the hollow air, whose dullness would make visible her subtle warm and golden breath, which mixing with the infant's blood, fulfills him with beatitude. Oh, sure, it is a special care of God to fortify from doubt, to arm and proof and guard about, with triple mailed trust and clear delight the infant's dawning year. Would that my gloomed fancy were as thine, my mother, when with brows propped on thy knees, my hands upheld, in thine I listened to thy vows. For me outpoured in holiest prayer, for me unworthy, and beheld thy mild deep eyes upraised, that knew the beauty and repose of faith, and the clear spirit shining through. Oh, wherefore do we grow Auri? From roots which strike so deep, why dare paths in the desert? Could not I bow myself down, or thou hast knelt to the earth until the ice would melt? Hear, and I feel as thou hast felt. What devil had the heart to scathe flowers thou hadst reared to brush the dew from thine own lily when thy grave was deep? My mother in the clay, myself is it thus? Myself had I so little love for thee, but why prevailed not thy pure prayers? Why pray to one who heeds not, who can save but will not, great in faith and strong against the grief of circumstance? Wert thou, and yet unheard, what if thou pleadest still, and seest me drive through utter dark a full-sailed skiff, unpiloted, I the echoing dance of reboant whirlwinds, stooping low unto the death, not sunk, I know, at matins and at evensong, that thou, if thou wert yet alive, in deep and daily prayers, would strive to reconcile me with thy God. Albeit my hope is grey and cold, at heart thou wouldst murmur still, bring this lamb back into thy fold, my Lord, if so it be thy will. Wouldst tell me I must brook the rod and chastisement of human pride, that pride the sin of devils stood betwixt me and the light of God, that hitherto I had defied, and had rejected God, that grace would drop from his o'erbrimming love as manna on my wilderness. If I would pray that God would move and strike the hard rock, and thence, sweet in their utmost bitterness, would issue tears of penitence, which would keep green hope's life, alas, I think that pride hath now no place, nor sojourn in me. I am void, dark, formless, utterly destroyed. Why not believe then? Why not yet anchor thy frailty there, where man hath moored and rested, axe the sea at midnight, when the crisp slope waves, after a tempest, rib and fret the broad embased beach? Why he slumbers not like a mountain tarn, wherefore his ridges are not curls and ripples of an inland mere, wherefore he moaned thus, nor can draw down into his vexed pools all that blue heaven which hues and pathes the other. I am too forlorn, too shaken, my own weakness fools my judgment, and my spirit whirls, moved from beneath with doubt and fear. Yet said I in my morn of youth, the unsunned freshness of my strength, when I went forth in quest of truth, it is man's privilege to doubt. If so be that from doubt at length truth may stand forth unmoved of change, an image with profligate brows and perfect limbs, as from the storm of running fires and fluid range of lawless airs at last stood out, this excellence and solid form of constant beauty, for the ox feeds in the herb, and sleeps or fills the horned valleys all about, and hollows of the fringed hills, in summer heats, with placid lows, unfearing till his own blood flows about his hoof, and in the flocks the lamb rejoiceth in the year, and raceth freely with his fear, and answers to his mother's calls from the flowered furrow in a time of which he wots not, run short pains through his warm heart, and then from whence he knows not, on his light there falls a shadow, and his native slope, where he was wont to leap and climb, floats from his sick and filmed eyes, and something in the darkness draws his forehead earthward, and he dies. Shall man live thus in joy and hope, as a young lamb who cannot dream, living but that he shall live on? Shall we not look into the lawns of life, the laws of life and death, and things that seem and things that be, and analyze our double nature, and compare all creeds until we have found the one, if one there be? Me, I fear, all may not doubt, but everywhere some may clasp idols. Yet, my God, whom I call idol, let thy dove shadow me over, and my sins be unremembered, and thy love enlighten me. O teach me yet somewhat before the heavy clod weighs on me, and the busy fret of that sharp-headed worm begins, in the gross blackness underneath. O weary life, O weary death, O spirit and heart made desolate, O damned vacillating state, the burial of love. His eyes in eclipse, pale cold his lips, the light of his hopes unfed, mute his tongue, his bow unstrung, with the tears he hath shed. Backward drooping his graceful head, love is dead, his last arrow is sped, he hath not another dart. Go, carry him to his dark deathbed, bury him in the cold, cold heart. Love is dead. O truest love, art thou forlorn and unrevenged? Thy pleasant wiles forgotten, and thine innocent joy? Shall hollow-hearted apathy, the cruelest form of perfect scorn, with languor of most hateful smiles, forever write in the withered light of the tearless eyes an epitaph that all may spy? No sooner she herself shall die. For her the showers shall not fall, nor the round sun that shineth to all. Her light shall into darkness change. For her the green grass shall not spring, nor the rivers flow, nor the sweet birds sing, to love have his full revenge. 2. Sainted Juliet, dearest name, if to love be life alone, divinest Juliet, I love thee and live, and yet love unreturned is like the fragrant flame, folding the slaughter of the sacrifice offered to gods upon an altar throne. My heart is lighted at thine eyes, changed into fire and blown about with sighs. Song. 1. I, the glooming light of middle night, so cold and white, worn sorrow sits by the moaning wave. Beside her are laid her mattock and spade, for she hath half delved her own deep grave. Alone she is there, the white clouds drizzle, her hair falls loose, her shoulders are bare, her tears are mixed with the bearded dews. And is doubt how we lose? Or doubt how we gain? How do we find truth? And where are we asserting false might?